All right, everybody, thank you and welcome for joining us today's webinar, Steps to Closing the Sale. Looking at the attendees listed here, I recognize about half the names and the other half I don't recognize. So for those of you that shared today's webinar and stuff, thank you for sharing it. That's absolutely one of the best ways that you can kind of help support us and support us getting our trainings and stuff out there. So it is, I definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate and acknowledge the time frame that you have decided to spend with us today. I don't take that responsibility lightly and stuff, and absolutely looking forward to giving you some power-packed information and stuff. And I'll share with you a little bit about my background, my story, and the trainings that we do within my own business and stuff. So with that, let's take a look here. So let's talk a little bit about the structure for today's webinar. So just give you a quick introduction about myself. It is, as I said, I can kind of see that I recognize about half the names out there, and the other half I don't recognize and stuff. So it's awesome. We have not had the chance to meet yet. Going to have about 45 to 6 minutes of just awesome, power-packed, intense training. This is honestly one of my more favorite webinars to do and stuff, just because I love dissecting how to build up the closing session and stuff, how to actually dissect and really get a powerful sale transaction going and stuff. I mean, it is, and I tell people, it's like, ironically, everybody out there in the world is in sales. Now, you have those of us and stuff. I'm kind of looking at some of the industries and stuff here. As some of you know, I have a background in the real estate industry. I see insurance. I see technology. I see even a couple people that I know that are dentists and stuff. And it's like, we are all in sales. Excuse me. One of my favorite stories I love to share was that one time I was dating a chiropractor. And she was actually a little upset because we're kind of looking over what we had made for the year before. And even though, quote unquote, I was in, quote unquote, sales and she was a, quote unquote, doctor, my income had surpassed her. And she was upset about this. And, because, quote unquote, she was a doctor and had this respectable degree and stuff. And, I kind of told her, it's like, hey, wait a second here, I've got a degree too, but I said, well, we're all in sales, and she was, she pushed back on that. She was like, well, no, I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor of chiropractic care. I'm a specialist. And I said, okay, well, hey, you have somebody that just recently been in a really bad automobile accident. Their insurance benefits will only cover up to X, but they need Y. So, they need for their total care package. What do you do? She said, well, I sit down, I kind of share with them, I show them through our discovery, our x-rays, everything that they need. I help build up a course of action stuff. We talk about what their insurance is going to cover. We talk about what they may need outside of insurance, and we build up a plan and a strategy so we can get them the care that they need. And I sat back and said, wow, sounds like a really good sales presentation to me. That point, I spent the night, on the sofa that night. So kind of learned the hard way in that aspect. But as I always tell people, it's like everybody is in sales and stuff. From there, we're going to go into a quick introduction to my advanced training session starting on September 7th, 2016. Don't worry, there is no pressure. There's nothing of that aspect. As many of you know, with my background in the real estate industry, it seems like as realtors, we get pitched all the time for what I call the dangling the carrot training sessions and stuff, to where somebody will come in and they'll kind of give us a 30,000-foot overview, or they'll give, they'll kind of tell you, the why you should do it, but not the how you should do it. And all leading up into where you need to plop $5,000 for their big weekend training session in Anaheim, California, or Las Vegas, Nevada, or something of that aspect. Do not worry. That is absolutely not what this is about. My attitude is, and as I'm pretty sure you'll discover, I look at it as I'm going to give you basically all out. I'm going to give you 100% the best of information, in depth, in detail, and with my hopes that, if you want to take your business and you take your training or education to the next level, if you feel that we're a good fit, then obviously, what my hope is that I'm top of your mind, and that you come to us, come to our training sessions and stuff. If not, then maybe if you know somebody or something of that aspect, or so, within there. But I mean, it is I hate that concept of I'm just going to give you I'm going to dangle the carrot, but I'm not going to give you the full in-depth and stuff. You're going to see I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go in depth and stuff. So Give you also ways to reach out to me for more additional free training. We haven't really put out too many articles and stuff as we've been kind of building up for this event. I think some of the people that's on our email list think that we just, we're constantly emailing out webinars and stuff. And so, actually we put out a whole bunch of different different articles and stuff on how to build your business, how to get more business, how to build your referral-based business, great business strategies and stuff. And then we'll end it up with a question and answer, and I'm going to answer all your questions in depth. It is, you should see like a little chat box in on the side there and stuff. Just as we go along, feel free to drop your questions in your chat box and stuff. I'll answer all questions in depth. It can deal with sales, marketing, business strategy. It can even deal with health and wellness. As a handful of you know, I'm really, really big in health and wellness and energy. And as I tell people, it's like that is ultimately the business that we're in is we have to manage our energy because our energy dictates our cash flow, dictates our income potential and stuff. So, but I will go in depth with every question out there. If I'm not able to go in depth with it, well, I probably know somebody that I can connect us to get you that in-depth question stuff. So with that, let's talk a little bit about who is Greg Town. Who am I? It's kind of funny. I'm sitting here in the GT Training Systems office and stuff. I pretty much got my computers in front of me, and I got a microphone, right next to my mouth and stuff, and a whole bunch of people all across the U.S. listening in live. So, for those of you that we have not met yet, I am one of the top producing real estate brokers in Washington State. I actually just received one of the award of being one of the top 10 real estate brokers in Washington State for the American Institute of Real Estate Professionals. Now, I'm also a published author. I wrote the book, Becoming Known as the Friend in the Business, going from salesperson to trusted advisor. And how that came about is there was one time I had a friend of mine say, Greg, I do business with you because you are my friend first, my realtor second. And I sat there and went, that's an interesting analogy. And so I went to my team and I said, hey, let's dive into this. Let's work on this. Let's, instead of trying to do all the new flashy, shiny, whiz-bang toys that it seems like in real estate that we're always getting pitched of how to be the new shiny technology, the new shiny person stuff. I said, let's really get in depth of building relationships with our clients. Let's get really in depth with, working with our clients at a level to where we're now becoming friends of theirs, or we're becoming part of their family as opposed to just a part of a transaction. And I went on this mission to take the art of real estate and take us from what's predominantly a very transactional-based type of business and put it into more of a service type of business. So we started working on that aspect, and we just saw phenomenal results. We just saw, our numbers just went through the roof, so much so that other agents within my office started reaching out to me and going, what are you guys doing? And so we started working with them. Well, that led to lending partners, the mortgage professionals and stuff, reaching out, just going, hey, what are you doing? So, from that, then from there it went into insurance, professionals, because within the real estate world, you'll have property and casualty insurance agents that they'll get binders and stuff, and all of a sudden they're noticing like, hey, this particular realtor lender team is just asking for a whole bunch more binders than everybody else out there. What are you guys doing? When I started having dentists and chiropractors and attorneys reaching out saying, what are you doing? Let's talk about marketing and stuff. That's when I sat there and realized that there is a training program behind this. And ironically, it's all about getting really hardcore back in the basics and really building up the relationships. I was on a podcast earlier today, and and I told them, it's like, as we've got, in real estate, as we've gotten more and more the technology-based style of real estate, what's getting more and more important is just going back old school of really becoming more relationship-based. That's how we're going to combat what I'm referring to as now the Uber effect of real estate, to where you have all these technology-based entities and stuff. To where ultimately, I did 2 buyer consults yesterday and stuff, and as I sat down with the buyers and stuff and told them, it's like 10, 12, 15 years ago, you needed somebody to show you what was on the market and stuff. because we control the access, we control the data. Now everybody has access to that data. I said, if all you're looking for is just somebody to open the door, I can train a monkey to do that. But it's like we've gone away, now that we've got so much technology in my industry and stuff, we've got really have to get focused back into what's the relationship side of how to do well within this business. So from doing that, that launched my speaker and training business into where I work with a multiple of different professional industries. As I commonly tell people, it's like, if you are in a professional service type of company to where you not only have to be an expert at the service that you provide for your customer or your client, but you're also responsible for the marketing and the lead generation and the promoting and the activities you do to attract that customer to come in so you can take care of them. That's what our training is for and stuff. And I mean, it's like we definitely worked a lot within the professional realms. I've even worked within landscaping and art, companies and items of that aspect and stuff. So I mean, I've worked with a multitude of many different industries. On top of that, I'm also a small business owner. I tell people I own 2.5 companies because one of my companies and stuff, there's I have certain responsibilities, and the supporting entity has other responsibilities and stuff. That's why I call it 2.5 companies. So trust me, I know what it feels like to be on the absolutes of highs. I know what it feels like to be on the absolute of lows. I know what it is like to have to be responsible for out there lead generating. I do not have a base salary. I don't have that luxury. What I call, I don't have that luxury as so many people out there will refer to it as. I have to absolutely be 100% on target, on point, to get out there to provide the business to take to support myself, support my family, and also to make sure that the members on my team are also supported and their families are supporting stuff. So I mean, I tell people, I know what it feels like to be on the absolute highest of highs, to where you think everything is rock and rolling and everything you touch just turns to gold. I know that feeling, and it's a dangerous feeling to have. And I know what it feels like to be literally hiding underneath my desk crying, just stressed out, figuring how in the hell am I going to keep the doors open. I know both ends of that spectrum and stuff. So I mean, the thing that you'll notice here is, as I tell people, is like, the number one things I know about being self-employed and being in business for yourself, or being a sales professional that is 100% your income's 100% base commission. I know that it's tough. And I know that there are days that are absolutely wonderful. I know that there are days that absolutely suck. But I'm going to basically play all out here on stuff and kind of just lay it out all out on the line and stuff, and just kind of give you the most in-depth training I possibly can in the time frame that we get to spend with each other this morning and stuff. So how to get the most out of today's webinar? Turn off all your distractions, cell phones, emails, just kind of, give yourself an hour or so to get away from the rest of the world and stuff. Get out a pen and paper and take notes. Listen fast, because I talk fast. And as I said, as long as technology works with us and stuff, we'll be uploading today's webinar into our YouTube channel. So first, before I get into step one here, let's talk a little bit about, the sales and the closing process and stuff. Ultimately, if you do these steps correctly, what we're actually doing is, we're solving our prospects or our customers or our clients' problem. And as long as, if you view what you do as very much, I'm in the service style, I'm very service oriented in my industry, and I'm here to solve problems, you will never have any problems in closing. Now, if you try to use, what I see a lot going on right now is, and what I see a lot with other trainers and stuff, is that they'll try to use manipulative techniques. Now, if you're using manipulative techniques, it may work for a little while. You may be that flash in the pan, as and very often in our industries and stuff, we'll see what I call the flash in the pans. Excuse me. But if they're using manipulative techniques, they're going to see, in the insurance world, the chargebacks where they cancel the policies. They're going to see products get returned. They're going to see contracts get canceled. They'll never get a referral out of that person, and they'll never get a repeat, business out of that person and stuff. That's why we call them the flash in the pan, because they're using manipulative techniques as opposed to actually going through and doing their fact finding and discovering what the problem is, and learning how and being a resource for the customer or the client to solve their problem. So first, and as I told you, it's like sometimes these steps, depending on your industry, we may shuffle the order and stuff. That's a hard set into, but as you'll kind of discover, it's like most of the time the steps I have these in are pretty rock on with just about every industry. Sometimes we have to do some shuffling around, and also depending on sometimes the customer, the client, the prospect and stuff, I may have to shuffle some stuff around. So that's why I tell people I hate scripts. I love being very well versed in your product line or your service, so that you can be so that you can really get in depth, build a connection, and take care of that person's take care of whatever problem or need that person needs from you and stuff. So step one, let's talk about our attitude. Before all else, your attitude and your manners or feelings or your expectations. I mean, this is all in what you're dressed. Are you mentally ready? Do you have your A game on? Are you ready to just go in there and rock it and just, deliver awesome and phenomenal results and be the resource that your customer, your client absolutely needs? Side note and stuff, it was last year in my real estate team, I was working with a set of buyers and stuff. And the husband and the husband and wife that were my buyers, the husband used to be a real estate broker back in quote unquote the good years, 2005, 2006, where pretty much all you needed was to fog a mirror and have a pulse and you could buy a house. There was no qualifications outside of that aspect and stuff. And the husband, he had sold a total of 2 houses in this wonderful time frame to be a realtor, one of which was his mom. So I mean, in real estate, friends and families, your first set of friends and family don't count. I mean, that's your sacrificial deals and stuff. That's your learning deals and stuff. And he used to tell people, like, oh yeah, I would always wear Hawaiian shirts and shorts. And people would ask me, people would question my dress code and stuff. And I tell them, like, hey, you're not here to buy me. You're here to buy the house. And I looked at him and said, dude, you are so wrong and so off point. I said, absolutely, your customers have to be willing to buy into you, to be able to trust into you and stuff. So, I mean, honestly, it's like how you dress and how you show up really affects your attitude, will really affect how people will perceive you as whether you're an expert in the field or a slacker in the field. So, I mean, number one and first and foremost, you have to have your attitude in check. One of the best ways that I do to keep my attitude in check is when I get up in the morning, most people, they'll jump into the news mode and stuff. They'll try to jump in and, what's going on in the news. And the news does not make their business. News does not make their money. They're not in the business of providing really, really wonderful, inspiring stories. They're actually in the business of shock and awe. The more shock and the more horrible they can get, the more they know that their people are going to watch, and that's how they sell their ad revenue. That's how the news organizations makes their money. So, now do I disconnect completely 100% from the news? Obviously not. I still want to be informed of what's going on in the day and stuff. But so what I'll do is I'll literally only watch, like, tell people, it's like if you watch the news, it's almost like you have a loop of information. And so when they go back into, when they finish the loop and stuff, I jump over into YouTube, and there's a handful of different motivational or channels and stuff that I will basically have running while I'm finishing getting ready for the day, and I'm doing my breakfast, I'm doing my morning routine and stuff. So, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm getting myself mentally ready and mentally prepared to go out and rock it. So. Step number 2. Now we're going to get into kind of the one-on-one of actually once we're meeting with the prospect and stuff. First and foremost, the greeting. It's all on what you say and what not to say. In your greeting, this is how you build rapport, you get on common ground, and you build respect. Yesterday, I popped into Sears, into the jewelry section. I actually need to get a battery replaced for my watch. And the type of watch, the watch that I had, style watch, was a very big watch. I went to my normal jeweler and stuff, and that's who sent me over to that's who sent me over to Sears, is because they didn't have the wrench that would take the back of the watch off, but they figured that Sears probably would. Well, I go in there, they have one salesperson working the fine jewelry counter. They don't know that I'm there to buy a watch. I mean, I'm dressed in slacks and a nice shirt and stuff. They don't know I'm there they don't know if I'm there to buy a watch, a ring, or get a battery replaced. But she was too busy talking to one of her counterpart about their kids and school and all this other stuff. And I'm literally standing there waiting. So I ended up going down to down the mall to another merchant and stuff, and spent my money there. But the thing that they failed drastically was there was no greeting. They never even acknowledged that I was there. You know, when your customer comes into your place, or when you meet with your customer, as like in my business and stuff, we meet a lot with our clients out in the field and stuff. Very rarely do they actually come into my office to meet with. It's how we greet them and stuff. I mean, it is, kind of my rule of thumb is when it comes to phones is if I'm there with one of my clients or my prospects, once I see that my client or prospect has come into wherever we're meeting at, the phone goes on mute and it goes into my pocket. It is nowhere to be found. I am there 100% for my customer, for my client. It is the last thing I want. I mean, it's like, last thing I want is, like yesterday, my first meeting was at a Starbucks where my client comes up to me and I'm still like texting or I'm Facebooking or anything of that aspect. No, I want them to feel 100% that I'm there for them and stuff. And so, I mean, your greeting is so important. Just how you open up and, acknowledge within that first time, that first start working within your customer, your client. So from there, we go into fact finding. The questions that is asked, that is wanted, and that is critical to the buyers. Whoops, sorry about that. I got a little jumpy there and stuff. Whoops. Apologize about that. A little technology, blunder here. So questions that is asked and wanted that is critical to the buyer so that you can put your buyer in the right product or the right service. In every single industry out there, every single type of product sales out there, or professional service type of sales out there, we have what's referred to as fact finding. Now, those of us in the real estate world, those of us that are in the insurance world, we understand what fact finding is. Sometimes people that are in more product type of sales, they may not quite grasp what the fact finding is. Sometimes people that are in like attorneys or sometimes chiropractic care and stuff, they may not understand the concept of fact finding and stuff. So often fact finding, what you're doing is you're discovering what is the problem, what is the need that your customer is coming in for you to solve and take care of for them. If you don't, a lot of times when I'm working with somebody they deal more on the product side of sales and stuff, and I'll tell them, it's like sometimes your customer will come in, have you ever had that experience? And in real estate, we're referred to as buyers or liars. And so I was like, have you ever had that experience where somebody comes in and they say, this is what I want. I want this, this, and this, and that's what I want. And ultimately, what they do is they end up going with something entirely different than that. Well, it's because so often buyers will first come in and they don't realize what they want. They don't know what they want. Sometimes you just don't know what you want until you see what you want. Or they may feel that because they've done their they've done their Googleology and stuff, that well, this is the type of insurance policy I need. I need and that's it. And it isn't until you actually sit down there and go, well, why are you looking for that type of policy? Why are you looking for that type of product? What is the need you're trying to, what is the need or the problem you're trying to fix? Okay, well, that will do, that will work in this aspect. Let's talk about these other aspects here and stuff. Without doing fact finding, you won't be able to discover what the true, problem is that the customer or the client needs taken care of. So from fact finding, we go into what's referred to as a buyer profile. So like in the real estate world and stuff, it is, sometimes, we're dealing with buyers that are having to sell their properties and stuff. So they're trading in an asset. So we're having to do an appraisal and stuff. In the insurance world, if they're looking at changing up like a life insurance policy and stuff, and, you kind of have to look at, okay, what, this particular term life or this particular whole life or this particular universal life, what is the value of this policy is now providing you? Where is it going to work for you better than this product or this product, or is it better to keep you in the product you're in, or do we need to transition you into a new product and stuff? So sometimes part of the buyer profile is you have to kind of look into if they're trading in a particular asset or something like that. See, we got a couple of attorneys and stuff, probably doesn't apply within that aspect and stuff. So you kind of have to look really at your industry and stuff. So, I mean, this also sets up for the selection and the demonstration, so you're able to get the buyer closer to the right product or the right service. If I have a family that comes in, they may have a different need than if I have a single person that comes in. And then also by understanding what their wants and needs are, it's vital to the negotiation so that you know how to structure the transaction and structure the product or the service so that you're solving all their problems. And for the customer or the client, it's a no-brainer. They realize that you're taking care of their problem, you're taking care of their need. So from there, we go into the selection. And what the selection is purely what is the right product or products or the service that's going to solve the buyer's wants and needs. And within this aspect and stuff, it is, sometimes, sometimes within this, I may take them a level up. And what I'm doing here is I'm testing the market a little bit, and I'm testing them. I'm making sure that I'm on the right product or I'm on the right service. So I may take them a level up, or I may take them a level down. Basically, all I'm doing is I'm just testing them to make sure that I'm on the right product or service to fit their needs. In the real estate world, it could very much be, it's like, well, okay, well, hey, let's go take a look at this particular neighborhood. Let's go, we'll upgrade the neighborhood a little bit. Or let's go take a look at this neighborhood. We'll downgrade the neighborhood a little bit. I see this so often within product sales and stuff. It's like kind of like the last watch that I bought and stuff. I mean, the salesperson did this perfectly. I actually complimented him on it. It's like, because I knew what, I get the itch to buy a watch, and I kind of know what type of watch I want to buy, and I start looking and researching it. So I went into the merchant, retailer and stuff. I kind of looked at it, and the guy said, well, let's take a look at this next level up and stuff. This is what it does. This is the additional features. This is the additional things that it does. Okay, well, let's take a look at it. Let's try to back back it down a little bit. So this is what the cost would be, but we lose these types of aspects and stuff. In insurance and stuff, I see this happen all the time and stuff. It's like, okay, well, let's take your protection level up. Okay, or let's say, okay, what's your budget? Well, let's build your policy around your budget and stuff. So but we'll try to get you as much protection as possible. So key element is basically within the selection and stuff, and it kind of helps you realize whether or not you're on the right product or you're not on the right product. So step number 6 is going into the demonstration. This is take the time to show the features and the benefits, and you want to demonstrate in a manner that creates urgency and a desire for ownership now. Within real estate, this is what we refer to as taking them out on tour, getting them into the home and stuff. And in the insurance world, a lot of times what I see is, okay, talking about what this particular policy, how it protects you, with what it does to protect you, what it will do for you. In the attorney world and stuff, especially if you're, for the attorneys, if you're operating more as a counselor and stuff, where you're advising somebody, this will be talking, I see some corporate entity type of attorneys and stuff on the podcast here with us today. It's talking about how to structure your business. As one of my attorneys said, it's like, however you structure your entity is the rules the IRS lets you play by, but you have to structure it properly up front. Once you structure it, that's the rules you got to play by and stuff. So it's this phase here is the demonstration phase. It is showing how this will solve the need or the want or the desire for your customer, your client. From your demonstration, go into a trial close. Now, this step within this step, what you're really doing is you're testing where your buyer is at in the ownership process, and it also helps you determine if you're on the right product, and and how to close of their purchasing. So a lot of times a trial close, what you're doing is you're just kind of putting a little bit of a feeler out there and stuff. You're just, and this can, a lot of times this is kind of where it will go into, okay, what we talked about a little bit earlier and stuff. If I don't feel that I'm on the right one, I may take them a level up. I may take them a neighborhood up. I may take them a training program up. If I feel like if I'm getting a lot of price pushback and stuff, I may take them down a little bit and stuff. And ironically, sometimes somebody that will give you a price pushback, when you take them down and they realize that the value that you're providing them, they'll automatically want to take themselves right back up to where they were at. And also keep in mind, a lot of times what people refer to as objections, my initial thing, what most people consider to be an objection is actually truly a complaint. If it is a price is normally not an objection. We get right down to it and stuff. The price of an insurance product is, ironically, is actually, pretty well set. I mean, I can't really, I can't wine and dine my insurance agent and get him or her to give me a price discount. I can't send them baseball tickets or football tickets, and they'll send me a coupon for 10 or 20% off of my next premium and stuff. The it's the nature of their business. They file their stuff with the Office of the Insurance Commissioner. It's just, it's that aspect of, they can't really adjust their price. In real estate, as I tell people, it's like, if you price a property below market, you're going to get multiple offers. If you price property above market, it's going to sit on the market. The seller sets the price. The buyers actually, validate what the true price is and stuff. So, I mean, very often price is more of a complaint. It's very rarely a true objection. Time is more of a complaint. Time is more of a complaint than it is truly an objection and stuff. And then we'll kind of go into some strategies and stuff of how to utilize these to dissect these complaints and actually kind of help maneuver them along into the process and stuff. A lot of times people will put up a time objection or a time complaint and stuff, and then somebody sit there and go, well, it's truly only going to be 10 minutes. Or when I call somebody, I'll tell them, it's like, hey, the reason for my call is da 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 da. It's going to only take about 5 to 7 minutes. Is now a good time, or can we set something up? I want to get some of these complaints and these objections away and off the table right off the bat. So, and a lot of times in trial closes, what you're doing is you're testing where you're truly at within the process and stuff. And so, I mean, if the person's ready to go and they're ready to rock and roll, hey, lean on the pen. Let's get everything moving forward and stuff. But let's say that you're getting a little bit of pushback, you're getting a little bit of resistance and stuff. So, and this step here, step 8, servicing. Yeah, it really kind of depends on what industry you're in, and it really depends on the prospect and stuff. Normally, I try to put it towards the latter part of the steps, as opposed to the front part of the steps, because what this does, this helps kind of lead into maybe some negotiation points or into some closing points and stuff. If I start off of talking all about servicing and stuff, well, fact of the matter is not, anybody that I do business with, I expect great customer service just right out the right out the go. And most consumers, that's what they expect. But as I've spent more time with somebody, as we're kind of going through all these steps of the sales and stuff, we're getting them closer and closer to actually, ordering whatever we're selling and stuff, or working with us as a client, or signing the insurance application, whatever it is and stuff. So often, most people, they realize that they want to be taken care of. They want to make sure that you're not going to be the flash in the pan and stuff. So, servicing, and this all really kind of depends within your industry and stuff, but it shows how you're going to continue to service them after they purchase. This shows the strength of your company to be there for them. It shows that you're not just there to sell them, that you're also there to service them and take care of them. In the real estate world, this is where we talk about, a lot of times, where I bring this up in the real estate world is I kind of warn people. I say, hey, just to give you a heads up, a lot of times my clients become my friends. As we're going through this process and stuff, we're going to get to know each other very well. And so often we're going to become friends through the course of this. And I'm not, I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to be your realtor for life, but I'm also going to be your friend. For my insurance people and stuff, this is where they talk about, hey, I'm going to be here if you ever have a question on your policy, if you ever have a concern, because the one thing, anybody that's ever had to file an insurance claim, the one person we do not want to call is the 800 number. We want to call our agent that's going to help us negotiate, help us understand and negotiate and make sure that we're taken care of and stuff. With law firms and stuff, the legal firms, and stuff, it is, the servicing is going to be how, how you're available for your customers, how you're available for your clients, and that, even though you may be in trial and stuff, you have legal assistants, you have legal staff that's going to be there to, to answer their questions, or, you have an email specifically that, an specific email address that way that, like one of my real estate attorneys and stuff, they have a specific email. And pretty much the rule of thumb is if you email into this you email them into this question within 24 hours, one of their attorneys responds back to your email, giving you the answering your questions and stuff. And I mean, if it's more intense, if it's a very in-depth question, they'll probably answer what they can in the email. Then they advise, hey, I think we need to actually have a sit-down consultation and stuff. So really look into your own industry of how you service to how you take care of your customers, and so that you can basically plan how you put the step in. The step was not an intense step. It's, all honesty, it's literally an extra no more than 5 minutes into your presentation, but it's a powerful, powerful step. It's a step that really, truly needs to be placed in there and stuff. So this is one of those, steps I kind of say it floats through and stuff. Yesterday, my second buyer's consult presentation was actually with an attorney. It's a first-time home buyer. She's an attorney and stuff. She wanted to know right off the bat, how am I going to take care of her? What's the servicing? Am I just going to be there to show homes to her and she was going to be left on her own for everything else, or how was I going to service and take care of her through the entire process and stuff? So, and that presentation servicing also went to the, pretty early on into the presentation, whereas the first one and stuff, it was the tail end of the presentation. So from the servicing, we go into the write-up. Vital, vital, vital. Everybody gets written up, and this is, I always go by the aspect of, I don't have a customer or client if I don't have a write-up. And in different industries, we'll refer to the write-up as different things. In the real estate industry, it's either the listing agreement or the buyer's agency agreement. What that basically is, it's a form of commitment that the customer is working with me. In the insurance world, it's signing the insurance application and putting, the first premium check or the deposit check, or, in the attorney world, it's signing the retainer. It is absolutely, I see so many people, they'll kind of gloss over this, especially if they're in an industry where there's not much stuff that's written up and stuff. When I sit down for a presentation, when I sit down to work with somebody and stuff, I always have a legal pad, paper, a pen, because, any type of required forms that I need for the write-up and stuff. The legal pad becomes my talking point. It becomes my, drawing stuff out. It becomes my note-taking device. Write-up is absolutely, absolutely vital. People that kind of pass over this or they gloss over this, and I've seen a lot of times I see this within the product industries and stuff, not so much as the service industry and stuff, because the service industries, our paperwork is kind of are showing that the person's working with us and stuff. But I mean, it's a huge element here. And basically, what the write-up is, it's a chance for you to it's basically drafting up your proposal, and you start entering into negotiations. So let's talk about negotiations. So often people think that when you hear negotiations, it basically means this is where I have to cut my price or give a discount. This is where I have to take it in the shorts or something of that aspect. That's not correct. What true negotiations is this is where you get agreement with everybody that is involved. And if you take the time early on, as far as what is the core problem that I'm solving? What is the need that I am solving? How am I taking care of the, what's the want, need, or desire that this person needs to get taken care of? When you get to the tail end here, into the negotiations and stuff, and you present your proposal in the aspect of, now, this is how we solve this problem. This is, we've done our fact finding, and we've we discovered that, your problem is a little bit more in depth. Your needs or desires are a little more in depth. Or through our fact finding, we've discovered that, where you felt that this was a major issue or concern, really truly wasn't that, but here where the major issue or concern is, in that aspect, now that, by doing all those steps properly before, where so many people I see, they want to gloss over those aspects and they want to jump to the tail end here. By doing all that stuff early on, it means that when you get towards the tail end here and they're about ready to lean on the pen and become your customer or your client, that these steps now become remarkably more easier and stuff, because ultimately, if you're solving your customer's problem, you're not having to sell. You're not being a salesperson. You're being a problem solver, and ultimately that's what that's why people want to do business with somebody, is because they know that you care, and they know that you're there to solve their problem. So step 11, we go into the close. And this is where you're using specific technology and language to get an agreement and action to exchange things of value with each other. In my world of real estate, this is called getting the listing agreement, getting the buyer's agency agreement. In my world of a training company, this is where it comes into where they've agreed to hire us and to bring us in to help work with their trainings within their company or their team, or they're registering, they're registering for an event that we're putting on, or something of that aspect. In the insurance world and stuff, this is where they say, okay, yep, this is the insurance policy for me, and here's the check. Just about every professional services out there, it's where they sign off on the agreement. In the product arena, this is where they agreed to purchase whatever product that you're selling and stuff. So I mean, and as we go into the closing techniques and stuff, sometimes depending on your product or your service, means you're going to use a product close, a service close, a needs close, and all through what you're going through your fact finding and stuff, and as you're working within your discovery process and stuff. So we're going to kind of lead into where closing techniques you may need to use, or ultimately if you've done a good enough job of showing how you're solving the problems, the close is really, really simple. It's literally okay, here's how we solve the problem, lean on the pen. And the next step here, next step from there is the actual delivery. So this is where we actually deliver the product or service, so the customer is happy and understands how to use the product or service. Recently, we brought in a new CRM, customer relationship management software and stuff. And I actually brought that in, I think last week, because it was as soon as I got done, we were doing one of my trainings and stuff. We had a little bit of a break, and then my team and I, we actually got together and we actually got training from a webinar and stuff of how to use this new software. And I was really, really super impressed. That's one of the reasons why I went with this particular company, was because that they offered to do the training and stuff. And so that way that we were not having, while yes, we could go through, we could watch the videos and the tutorials and this and that, but I actually talked with the person, and they learned a lot about my industry and stuff, and what I was looking to accomplish with their software and stuff. And so they built their training purely around that. So instead of having to sit there and kind of fish through all the tutorials and stuff and kind of learn as we go, we actually had the opportunity to basically have customized training for us, for our industry, and for my team. And that meant that was one of the biggest deciding factors of why I went with that particular company and stuff. So I mean, by doing that level of training, by doing that level of servicing, when you deliver the product, you get a higher satisfaction, which basically means a higher rate of repeat customers and a higher rate of referral customers. And if you think about it, your customer acquisition cost, which so few people actually know that number, and I tell people, that's part, when I work with people one-on-one, that's one of the things we dive in depth on, is what is your cost of customer acquisition? Once you realize what that number is, you realize how important that is, and your cost of customer acquisition when it comes to repeat or referral customers is typically zero, or really, 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 really close to zero. And I love it when my costs are zero or very, very close to zero. So our final step is the follow-up. And some people go, oh, wait a second, I thought this was steps to closing the sale and stuff. How's follow-up step to closing the sale? They've already taken delivery. Well, if that's your attitude, you know what? You're getting the unfiltered Greg and stuff. You're getting a training program directly from me. You're a slacker. If that is honestly what your feeling is and stuff, you're not gonna last very long within this industry and stuff. Now, if your feeling of follow-up is purely that it's not a good step, then you probably should get out of this in whatever industry you're in, or adjust your belief system within that. Most people, they don't follow up purely because it's something that just happens to slip away. There has to be a system that you have to follow up and stuff. So yes, this is very much a vital part of the sale. So you want to build your follow-up systems of how do you creatively stay in touch with the customers to ensure continued satisfaction and for repeat and referral business. This is where we became known as the friend in the business, was part of our follow-up system. And, and how that happened was I wasn't just touching base going, hey, are you ready to sell? Do you have any friends that are looking for a house? Or, hey, it's, we're on to our next training program and stuff. Are you ready to buy? No, it is just how we stayed in communication, how we stayed in contact, and how we delivered value. How you follow up, you can follow up through phone, email, video. Video is very, very powerful. Texting videos and stuff. Awesome. It is, a lot of times this is how I actually follow up to confirm appointments and stuff, is I'll show them a video text. I do this for a couple of reasons. Number one, it sets me apart from everybody else out there that they've talked to. So when was the last time you got a video text that wasn't from me? Second off, what this does is it makes it a lot more personable. People now, they've had a chance to see me. They see what I look like. They're not just walking into the Starbucks blindly looking for the person that looks like that they're looking for somebody else. And people believe what they see on video, and it's a step above of making yourself personable and stuff. But doing videos and stuff. Texting pictures, that's another really great way of staying in follow-up and stuff. These are all great aspects of how to follow up and stay connected. And what it boils down to is the better you stay connected within your customers and your clients, the higher the likelihood that they're going to do referral business and they're going to do repeat business with you. So, as I always tell people, success is never owned. It is rented, and the rent is due daily. You have to take daily actions to achieve and keep success. I kind of got a little bit of grumblings from last week's trainings and stuff, where I kept talking about the Seattle Seahawks and stuff. But I was talking about the greatest sports teams train regularly to achieve success. I kept giving people like, we got the Olympics going on. You should be referencing the Olympics. So this we're going to try to reference the Olympics more. So we just got done with the Olympic Games in Rio. World-class athletes all across the world went to one place to compete. Just like the Seattle Seahawks, they train like you would not believe. I know I'm going to get a little bit of pushback on stuff on it, but I mean, all your top level performers out there, I mean, they work and they train. They don't just show up to the sales presentation. They don't just show up to deliver the proposal, and that's the first time that they ever went over that and stuff. Every top producer performer in your industry has a coach and a mentor, along with a game plan that they use to consistently stay on top of the game. As I always tell people, the number one investment you can truly always make is absolutely in yourself. So, I love this picture here, and sometimes it's a little bit of a shock factor and stuff, but I always tell people, are you committed or are you interested? And we've all seen ballerinas, or we've all seen professional dancers, and they're up there on the stage, and they literally look like they're gliding flawlessly. They're floating in air. They're magical. And I mean, it is, I think just about every little girl's dream is to grow up and be a ballerina. Well, I actually got a chance to talk to a friend of mine that, she was a ballerina. She was a ballerina mom. Her daughters are ballerinas and stuff. And it amazed me the amount of work and training and effort and the decades of training that can go into just before they even get a shot. Well, the decade plus of training and work that goes into to hopefully they get a shot of being on a stage of, a huge stage and stuff. And she shared with me this picture and stuff. And it's like, okay, on the right-hand side here, you have what we normally see, and I mean, that's the beautiful ballerina shoe and so on and so forth. And what we never see is what's underneath that shoe and stuff. all the hard work and the determination and the drive that went into basically becoming that top level performer, that we get to sit back on stage just like those top level performers in your industry and stuff, that not the flash in the pans, but those that have worked hard, to where you sit back and go, how's that person always knocking in those deals or knocking it out of the park? It's that drive and determination. It's that work that goes on underneath the skin. So understanding the business builder's game. And sometimes I get a little bit of pushback on this. People say, hey, my business is not a game. This is what I do. And I get that. I'm right there alongside with you. My business is how I keep a roof over my head. It's how I put food on the table. It's how I provide, but, it's, as I tell people, I don't use the term game to kind of downgrade of what we do in business, but I use the term game as far as an analogy of how do we operate at the peak of our performance. And how you operate at the peak of your performance is you have to look at what items are, you have to look at some key indicators and stuff. You have to look at if there was an accident, if you're driving along and all of a sudden there was an accident and stuff, fire and rescue shows up. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to take vital statistics. They're going to assess the situation. Well, there's some vital statistics in everybody's business that you have to look at and you have to look at daily. And some of these are your vital statistics and stuff. And I mean, probably the biggest one is, what are your activities? What are the activities that you're doing that brings in leads, that brings in business, that are money-making activities? I'm not talking about the bullshit activities of playing Minecraft or searching for Pokemon or anything of that aspect. What I'm talking about is, what are the activities that you are doing to help further your business, help promote your business, help build your business? Those activities, what they should be doing is they should be leading into leads. Those activities should be bringing in leads. They should be bringing in contacts. They should be bringing in basically what I refer to as a lead. A lead is somebody that's willing to exchange their information with me. They're not a customer. They're not a client. They're willing to exchange their information with me, and they're willing to possibly go into a level of communication with me. So, from my leads, then they pop into appointments made and stuff. That's what we do. We reach out to our leads. We work with our leads and stuff. We go to book appointments with our leads. Now, I don't know anybody out there that 100% of their appointments they conduct. It's one of those, as 9 times out of 10, life comes up. Life happens. Something happens. One of the techniques that we utilize and stuff is we kind of, we use a nail, we kind of tie down that appointment and stuff. And, and when I'm asking, when I'm booking an appointment with somebody, I'll ask them point blank, like, hey, can you check your calendar? Is there anything else out there that may come up that you would not be able to meet this time frame and stuff? What I'm doing is I'm really tying down that appointment and stuff. It's one of the techniques that I use and stuff. But, hey, I realize life comes up. And then, and yes, it even happens to the best of us. Sometimes we get blown off. Yes, it sucks. It's horrible, but sometimes people will just blow you off. They don't want to tell you they don't need your product or service, so they just don't show up and they ghost. They just kind of ghost on you and stuff. So your appointments made leads to your appointments conducted. Well, I want you to build a business to where you don't need everybody that walks through the door to become your client. That's how you know that you're successful with your business and stuff. So from your appointments conducted is where your clients come into and stuff. And then from your clients, those who basically you come, what are referred to as under contract and stuff. What are your numbers? Somebody tells me, it's like, I want to make X amount of dollars per year. Well, okay. Well, how much is each one of your contracts worth? How much is each one of your policies worth? How much is each one of your clients worth in revenue and stuff? Okay. So now we know how many clients how many contracts or how many closed transactions, that we need to accomplish and stuff. So we start working backwards and stuff. Okay. So for out of every number of contracts, how many clients do you need? Not all of our clients turn into paying contracts and stuff. In the insurance world and stuff, some things pop up in underwriting or some things pop up in medical, which basically means that they no longer qualify for a policy. In real estate, not every listing out there sells. Not every buyer out there buys and stuff. So, so how many clients do you need to get contracts? Well, out of those clients, how many appointments what are your ratios? How many appointments do you need to book? out of that, that number of appointments, how many appointments do you need to make so that you have those number of appointments? In order to make those appointments, how many leads do you need? And that all leads back into what are your activities that are out there generating business for you to do. So I want you to really take a, either screen capture this or, come back into the rebroadcast and stuff, and really just I want you to dial in your numbers and stuff. So, last thing I do every day is some daily planning and reflection. I deal with the realities. I cut out the crap. It's one of the best things I've discovered is, part of my day is I look back at, in the Army we used to refer to as the after-action review and stuff. What did we do well? What did we do that was not so well? And how are we going to improve? And I look back through the course of the day is, did I operate in the highest and best use of my time? To really put it in plain, simple English and stuff is, I look back at my day and my attitude is, if my activities in the last 12, 16, 18, 24 hours, would I hire myself or would I fire myself? That's really what it boils down to. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand. We all need some downtime. We all need some recharge time. But it's like, okay, when I'm on, I absolutely want to be on. I want to be 100% full board on. I want to be there, And so, I mean, that's, this is one of those aspects I look into is like, how did I do? Did I win the day? And, do I win every single day? I wish I could say yes, but unfortunately, the fact of the matter is there are days that, I don't win and stuff. So, I'm also looking is like, how do I level up? How do I increase my flow? How do I increase my winning days and stuff? So from here, I want to talk a little bit about our advanced next level training and stuff. It's a 90-day business accelerator boot camp. What we do is we meet for 12 weeks plus a bonus session and stuff, very similar to this on a webinar-based platform and stuff. It's a very tight-knit group. And, literally it is, what we do is I'm looking at, basically I want to fast track everybody's business and get them into success. We're going to really dive into how to generate leads. We're going to go into how to follow up leads. The ironic thing is most people don't truly have a lead generating problem. A lot of people have a follow-up problem and stuff. But we always need kind of that new lifeblood and stuff coming in. So we want to make sure we have good systems and structures in place to kind of help generating leads and definitely how to follow up with those leads. And from being able to follow up with them, we want to know how do we convert those leads into paying clients or customers. So we're going to get really in-depth in that lead generation and stuff. We're going to get really in-depth with social media, how to expand, how to blow up your social media, how to get your social media out in there to where it actually helps promote yourself. This is where I kind of irk a lot of my social media gurus and stuff, because I tell people, it's like, I could give a crap about likes, shares, hearts, or any of the other crap out there that all these social media experts and gurus out there always love to promote and say, this is what we do and stuff. It's social media. It's all about interaction. It's all about how to get that online conversation, if they're, discovering the need and getting that online conversation offline. It's all about how to interact and stuff. As I said, I can give a crap about likes, shares, or anything of that aspect. It's all about your interaction stuff. We're going to talk about how to build your referral sources. We're going to go really in depth in closing techniques as far as when to use a product close or when to use a needs close or a service close. We're going to go really in depth on phone skills. I look at my phone and my real estate team, we do millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. I do millions and millions of dollars a year just off of my own phone, just myself personally, not even including the full team and stuff. Our training companies, we do over $500,000 a year of sales just off of our phones and stuff. Your phones are just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's a killer tool if you know how to use it correctly. And really big follow-up systems and stuff. Like I said, a lot of times people, the leads will slip through the cracks, and the reason the leads slip through the cracks is they have no follow-up systems and stuff. So we're also going to go into a bonus session is going to be dealing with weight management, optimum health, and what I always tell people is more importantly is the energy management. For those of us that are, entrepreneurs, business owners, what's traditionally looked at as commission salespeople, real estate, lenders, insurance producers. For those of us that own our own practice, we are our own business entity. For those of us that have to, we eat what we hunt. Our energy really truly determines our the more energy we have, the more business we have. Plain and simple. And so, I mean, there's a lot of things that I do that, to help manage my energy and stuff. There's a couple of different programs and stuff. I'm going to share all those aspects with you and stuff. Because a lot of times people look at me and go, Greg, how do you hard charge for as often as you do? Well, it's various, and I tell you, it's not a magical potion. It's not a magical pill. It's a combination of, I talk about diet. I talk about supplements. I talk about, every 90 days I do blood work and stuff. I want to see how do I run how do I keep my body running in optimum health? And the reason is the more energy I have, the more business I can do. So each week is between 60 to 120 minutes of live in-depth webinar. It's not a recorded webinar. It's not a video. It is very much live and in-depth. It is it's going to be very specific, to the industries that I have represented within the class. We're going to have questions and answers. We're going to have a private Facebook group, and this for the boot camp members, answering questions, networking, and honest to God, I tell people it's like my best growth relationships have come from masterminds just like this. Probably one of my best mastermind groups is where some of my best business relationships have come into and stuff. We have weekly action items. So this is boot camp style training. You're given assignments and you're held accountable. A lot of times I'm going to partner you up with an accountability partner. It's going to be somebody that's probably going to be within your same type of industry, but not in your same marketplace and stuff. I just referred a deal down to San Antonio, Texas, and how I met this person was actually through a mastermind group that my real estate team sits with and stuff. Execution is absolutely the heartbeat of your business. The second that it stops, your business begins to die. As I always tell people, it's like success. As we go back into that phrase, success is never owned; it's rented, and the rent is due daily. So I laugh because we live in this crazy world where people will go get themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. They'll spend 4+ years of their life going and getting this massive education. I see this so often with attorneys, with dentists, with chiropractors. They will just go into this massive amount of in debt so that they can learn how to perform the service that they perform, but they never get the training on how to market or promote or build their business so that they can become successful, so they can get those customers in or their clients in to where they can actually perform that service they get. For an extremely small amount of money, you'll learn the necessary skills along with the personal coaching of how to create the business market plan that will generate a 7+ figures a year. So it's 90-day boot camp along with a depth hardcore coaching plus interaction inside Facebook group along with daily access to me. If you were to come to me one-on-one privately or one-on-one to any top-level coaching professional, you would be paying close to $60,000 for this type of one-on-one servicing and stuff. But I'm going to tell you what, we're not charging $60,000, not even charging $6,000. Our 90-day business accelerator boot camp, you went onto our websites, $14.97. And as I said, that's a phenomenal value and stuff. You really get that in-depth coaching and stuff. I try to make our trainings as affordable as possible for everybody out there to be able to take advantage of it. But you know what? I like those that take action, and I especially like those that have coming out from one of our web platforms and stuff, one of our webinar trainings, because we've already started the ball rolling and stuff. And so for those that act now, get the entire program for $9.97. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about our money back guarantee and stuff, because obviously, anybody that's ever done business with me before, both on the real estate side or our coaching side, they know that I'm all about accountability. I believe more in accountability than anything else and stuff. So, just like my real estate business, my coaching business, I back up my actions with performance guarantee. So, here's our performance guarantee. Within 30 calendar days of our last training sessions, if you have done the work, you've attended each session, you've completed and you show that you've done all the homework, action steps, and weekly commitments, and if you feel this program is not worth every penny, I will refund the full amount and you get to keep the content, period. That's how much faith I have in this training program. This is the exact same type of training program that I use within my own personal team, with all my own personal clients. This is how, I've seen the successes day in and day out. That's how much, that's how much I believe in this system and stuff, and I'm willing to back that up, to that degree. So, I promise with 100% certainty this will be the best investment that you have ever made in your career. As I said, our boot camp starts next Wednesday, September 7th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Times. You'll see the other times and frames in there and stuff. And we, just like, as long as technology works with us and stuff, we record it, and we'll actually broadcast it out in through our, Facebook channels and stuff. So it won't be available on our YouTube channel or anything of that aspect and stuff. It'll just be within our own private groups and stuff. So $9.97. You know what that breaks down to? Breaks down to about $11 per day. So if you decide to pack your lunch every day for the next 90 days together with that savings alone, you've covered the training. So how you register? Register now. Just go to gregttrainings.com. We actually just put in our little, don't follow this and stuff. We actually just put in our link and stuff. Go over to our products and service, look for the pay now function. We got the integration and stuff, and then just register that way. It should automatically take you to the $9.97 price point and stuff. So, whoops. That is how you register up for our training stuff. Now, bear with me. I'm going to open back up my window here, get back into my chat function here to take a look at the questions that have popped in. So, what is an example of a product close? So, what an example of a product close is, you always want to really go in depth, and you want to show that whatever your product or service is, first and foremost, it has to solve your customer's problem. It has to meet their needs. If it doesn't meet their needs, think about the last time that you kind of went in and somebody you could tell they're going purely off of a scripted, whatever they were trained. And there was no fact finding, there was no discovery, there was nothing ever looked into, to make sure that they were on the right product. And it was old school training. Old school sales training was whatever the customer is always right, and whatever the customer tells you that they need, that's what they're looking for and stuff. Well, unfortunately, through the art of Google, a lot of people will think that they need a certain type of product, and they're actually not. That's actually not the right product that they need to be on and stuff. So, but that they've Googled it and they feel that they're experts in it, and that's what the product that they need to be on. That's why it's so important to do the fact finding and kind of the discovery phase and looking at what the true problem is and stuff. So you always want to match up your close with basis showing of how it's going to solve that particular want, need, or desire, or that problem that the customer is having and stuff. So I'll use the example of I'll use it. Okay, you know what? I'll use the example of a very good friend of mine that another professional trainer that he did, his mail office box and stuff. I mean, his mailing address is actually like a FedEx or a UPS store and stuff. And, he was thinking, it's like, okay, I'm going to utilize I'm going to go downgrade my box because I don't get that much mail. I'm just going to downgrade my box and stuff. And, so, when he told was coming up for time for renewal and stuff, and he told the person, I want to downgrade my box and stuff, and, he could almost kind of tell, it's like, he could kind of get that feel. The sales was about to happen. And he was anticipating that she's going to, oh, you don't want to downgrade your box. You like the bigger box. You like it because you don't have to come in as often. You like that you get the packages. But no, she kind of looked at the product, and she knew what his needs were because he'd been a customer of theirs for a while and stuff. And he's like, okay, well, let me ask you this. Okay, if you downgrade your box, it's like you're going to have to change your address. It's like, okay, no, whoop-de-doo. It's like, so you're going to have to change all your sales literature, all your business cards. You're going to have to change the address that's on your website and stuff. And so she understood the value of that product that had to them, and the other needs and stuff. So really you have to look at what's going to be, how does your product help solve your customers or your clients' needs and items of that aspect and stuff. So what if somebody does not want to, what if somebody does not know what their problem is? could be a little bit more of a personal question and stuff. Okay, you know what, I've experienced this before within the real estate stuff. They're not sure if they want to buy. They're not sure if they want to rent and stuff. So what I do is I help, you help kind of do some logical analysis and stuff. And it kind of depends on the person too. It depends on the personality type. If I have a very visual, artsy type of person, if I go into a logical type of analysis and stuff, I'm not going to build rapport. They're going to start shutting down on me. They're not going to want to, we're going to have a disconnect and stuff. Whereas if I have a logical person and stuff, and basically doing a very logical analysis, that's going to help build the rapport. So it really kind of depends. First and foremost is who's my person and stuff. If they're a logical person and stuff, I will actually I think it's referred to as the Ben Franklin close. I think it's the first. I think it was the first first way that I heard this close, or the positive, negative, the pros and cons close and stuff. Literally, you take a piece of paper, you draw a line down the middle, you put a plus on one side, a negative on the other side, stuff. What's all the positives? What's all the negatives? Well, if the more positives outweigh the negatives, then it's a go. If the more negatives outweigh the positives, then it's not a go and stuff. But I mean, a lot of times it's like, okay, we'll take a look into, what they, and it really depends on your industry and stuff. A lot of times in our real estate, it depends on, does it make sense for somebody to stay as a renter, or does it make sense for somebody to become a homeowner and stuff? There are times I've advised people that maybe it's best to stay as a renter, especially if they're in a transitional point within their career and it looks like they may be taking a job transfer out of state. I mean, you don't want to close on a home and then 6 months later get transferred out of state, because 9 times out of 10 you're just not going to have the equity value built in there to where you can sell your house and at least break even and stuff. It's your cost of selling and stuff. You look into, okay, I'll use a real world example for me, a life insurance policy that was sold to me that was not sold that in the value, the value that it was sold was not the true value that it provided. And I held on to that policy for 2 months before I kind of sat there and went, this is not the policy that I need to be in and stuff. Basically what happened was the insurance person was a brand new insurance rep. She's no longer in the insurance world and stuff. I actually knew her through a different industry. She actually came, it was like the product of the week or the product of the month that her insurance company was pushing for them to go out there and promote and stuff. And so, I mean, she came and she promote, and literally just out of the fact that I trusted her and respected her, we had enough dealings with other, in her other life and stuff before she went into insurance sales, that I said, okay, yep, I'm willing to trust on you and stuff. And it wasn't until a couple of months I started looking at the dynamics of it. It's like, this is not the policy that I need. This policy is not providing the level of protection that I need or want. And so I reached out to her and said, hey, we need to modify this policy and stuff. We need to adjust this policy. I immediately got the pushback from her and stuff. So ultimately what happened was I canceled the policy and I went to a different insurance line to renew that type of the policy that I need. So, the biggest thing you want to make sure is, you've got to do your fact finding. You've got to, you literally have to look at yourself. You're a professional problem solver. That's how, as professionals, that's how we differentiate ourselves. Everybody, if you're not a professional problem solver, you're just an order taker. I'm going to tell you, order takers never get compensated well. Professional problem solvers get compensated intensely well. So, can I do a payment plan on the training? Yes, you can. If you click on the link that's not set up to do the payment plan stuff, we can do 3 payments of, I think, $333 and stuff. Just send us a message through our website and stuff there. We'll actually send you over a link and stuff. We'll set you up on a payment plan just, for that aspect. So yes, we can absolutely do that and stuff. I always want to make sure that we kind of do everything we can to make our trainings available for everybody out there that wants to move forward with our trainings in that aspect. Let's see here. Looks like we answered that question. Excuse me while I just kind of scroll through here. What are some other webinars that you have coming up? Tomorrow is going to be, I apologize, normally I talk about this before we go into our, we start recording our sessions and stuff. Tomorrow, same time, we're going to talk about lead generation with networking. We're going to talk about how you get out there to like your different events and stuff, your chamber events, BNI groups, how to truly build connections and stuff, how to truly build connections with the people out there that you meet in both what I call traditional networking opportunities and non-traditional networking opportunities. Honest to God, is how I got my business started. It was like one of the, how to really truly build those connections and stuff, so that you don't need to connect with everybody that you go to a networking event and stuff. I mean, some of the networking events I go to is hundreds and hundreds of people. I can't connect with everybody in there. It's just, there's just not enough time. There's not enough, energy to connect with 200, 300, 400 people. But if I can connect with a handful of people and really just build awesome connections, a couple weeks ago I was at a trade show and stuff. There was like 1,000 people and stuff. I connected with two really, really awesome and intense people. And out of those two connections, it's going to turn into some significant business stuff. So we've got that, that coming up tomorrow. And then next week on Thursday is going to be our social media rock star. And then Friday is going to be, once again, this class stuff. So this webinar and stuff on closing techniques or steps to closing the sale. So if you know somebody that you think would absolutely that they should, that they would get some really huge value out of it, feel free to share, share the links with them and stuff. Let's see here, other questions. All right, looks like we got everything else wrapped up there and stuff. So with that, once again, thank you so much for coming on board, being part of our webinar today. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Feel free to send us a message and stuff. We'll put you on if you're not already on our email list and stuff of getting articles and stuff. A couple of times a month and stuff. I'll push out articles and stuff, just general business building, how to network, how to prospect, how to service, how to follow up, and I mean just some really great, awesome items in that aspect and stuff. So other than that, thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you so much for showing up. And as always, make it a great day.